Good morning. I'm here to read out Squeaky, the verdict. We shall continue on. Look what happened in the 1960s, Virgo went on. The civil rights movement, People's Park in Berkeley, the problem of the Indian Induction Center, the Bravin brothers, two Jesuits with the priests pouring blood on the draft records. There was a time of great revolution in the country because people were attacked us and old thought. You know, this country will be celebrating its 200th birthday in 1976. The reason the revolution came about is because people wanted a new thought. People wanted equality, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, a jury trial, the right to be tried by your peers and to be judged by them, not a star chamber preceding a fair and open hearing when there was a burden of proof into that, beyond all reasonable doubt, into a moral certainty. Think further about the images that are set out and the problems that have fizzled as she set forth in this letter to Mrs. Rossi. In 1954, there was a landmark decision, Brown versus Board of Education. It was a Supreme Court decision. Up until the time of our educational system, the supreme law of the land was that its operational opportunities were equal, separate but equal, but everything was all right. Black children in the South went to all black schools. They couldn't eat in restaurants. They had to use different bathrooms, yet they could go and fight wars and lose their lives to protect their liberties. And the quantity is why. Who is the real enemy? Who is suppressed? Who keeps us down? Without equality and justice, we have nothing. She says, even though the problems have fizzled, nevertheless, the thoughts are still moving. And that's right. Even though the problems have fizzled, the thoughts have to keep moving. The thoughts are going to move one way or another, hopefully forward and not backwards. If they remain in the status quo, they deteriorate. She says it's not people that the Manson family was at war with, but a thought, the same thought that sells our children in the more innocent world, sex, political ideology, death, theology, and toothpaste in 1 hour. Think about it. Isn't that a fact? Your children watch television and in the commercials, they get what they get. That's what they get. Look at the violence that's portrayed on television, very antiseptic violence. You know that your children go out and you know that their minds are many times the reflection of the television set and your apathy towards them. People do things because they need to do things. Nothing happens in a vacuum. What about selling our children these things? How about the people feel about this? Is this language you don't understand? You know, since I've become involved in this case and evaluated all the materials and this letter in particular, I have asked myself, what have you done? And probably came up with the same answer that most of you have. I haven't really done much, if anything. So I'm not telling you that I am some superhuman being. We all have the same frailties, other appetites and instincts have a very keen way of prevailing over our logic and reasoning sometimes. But what about our children? What about the more innocent world and the things we have put on them? What about the ways they sell theology? Think about that. What is Christmas? What is Santa Claus? What is the presents? How many children really understand what Christmas is? Is it because money and the big business involved with it? How many children understand what Easter is? Is it the Easter Bunny? How did these things come about? Because of the monetary gain involved? Or is that came about? You can tell things at this point in time. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy Christmas season and exchanging the gifts. Judge McBride finally lost his patience. Mr. Virga, I'm allowed you quite a bit of latitude in this, and by all means, you're entitled to go into her letter, and I really feel you're going on a little bit afield here. And I will later instruct the jury, motive and intent that are not becoming confused. The motive is not a defense to the crime of this kind. We haven't even come to Thanksgiving yet, and you're at Christmas. Vega protested. I think that Mr. Keyes has attempted to give a history of Lynette Fromme to put her in a proper perspective, and that's all I'm trying to do. This is like going to the doctor. He needs a history first before he can really analyze and dialogue diagnose what's wrong with you, but you're giving the history lesson to the world. McBride countered. You're not just giving the history of Lynette Fromey. I'm sorry, Mr. Verga. I'm going to have to cut you down. Verga resumed his destruction of the Rosie letter. She says he will not for the sale of drama and an old school of thought where the misery needs company and the solution, subtleties of emotions and treasuries of the writer's hard work, except Tennessee Williams for lifestyle. Well, what is Tennessee Williams? Who is she referencing to there? Tennessee Williams is reality, I guess you would say. Nothing is worth living for. Maybe another way to put it is his writings reflect a theater of despair. Verga passed it as if the jurors might know well who Tennessee Williams was. Some of his writings were The Glass Menagerie, On Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, A Streetcar Named Desire. He's a playwright, Verga added. To perpetrate what is dead is killing the rest. To perpetrate the whole thought is killing the new one. There is around the corner of evolution a new experience, awareness, and perception beyond anything we have yet experienced, and this itself is so feared that we haven't been locked up. The death of an old thought is the completion of a long time of grandmother's ways and hard for most to let go of. That's true. That's a fact. The old thoughts are hard to let go of. The media can be used to unwind the tangles of the world, running in circles toward what it fears most, death or truth or both. It isn't what is correct. Isn't that a correct statement? The media can be used to unwind these tangles, and it's used properly. She says Manson can explain this self-destructive thought. He can explain the Christ thought. I think that most basic concept of the Christ thought is love thy neighbor. Do unto others as you would have them do to you, and do not that, you have all been through the self-destructive thoughts because you care for no one but yourself. Without personal meaningness, I say that you are the responsible for our children and are the minds of the world into which they pass thoughts. Leaders who have held the people down in order to control them have fallen off the top of the people who are waking in the lie and anger and will tear the world apart with the new purpose in life. With this, that ties in with I said before, people don't want to be lied to and told certain things, that they have certain rights and have those rights to be manifested. With the media, each home can learn a garden and women can be shown not as a whore or a neuter computer, but as a mother who wants to live and is doing everything under the sun to ensure the survival of her world. What about the neuter computer? Is that the unemotional thing? It doesn't have to have any emotion. What we do remember is your children's needs. They don't need emotional nutrition. And our society lacks the emotional creating emotional experiences. You must understand that Christ thoughts first. I cannot explain it, but I would fascinate you. Love is truth, is worship, and begin with worship of the earth we walk on and the air we breathe, the water we drink, and so on. There is not one of you that disagrees with that. The country has the resources and the young and the energy alike to clean it up and provide new purposes for living, new thoughts, and to send a mind spiraling upward and outward, not into the drugstores, booze bottles, and morgues. I am certain that all agree with that, but will the Tate LaBianca murders need to be reported to tell the truth of the thoughts that we have been raised onto, or will the people finally see that they are being killed by big money and the thoughts that perpetuate it and pay attention to the new young government and the world? There will be blood in the faces of our working people, and will 20 million mothers bear arise to protect their cubs? What were their thoughts that they were raised onto that raised the Tate LaBianca murders? Do we close our eyes to what we want to know? What happened to these people involved in the Tate LaBianca situation? Middle-class American children, do you want to know? Women will need to sit down with their men and understand them as parts of herself. To compare with each other is to create conflict in the kids and leave the real problems of no place to play, no trees, no air, bad air, water, and cancer-causing foods in the sidewalks with the 12 and 13-year-olds have learned in their dope prevention classes, how not to shoot dope, and are laughing about it with needles in their arms. We have to take care of our children. Virga's impression, the family has to be restored. We're going to end here and continue tomorrow with more of Lynette's verdict. I find it very interesting. She was able to subpoena the President of the United States. Do you think there's any truth or enjoyment here? Please like and subscribe and have a nice day. Thank you.